The party is over. Bitcoin can't climb anymore, and that's because the long-term holders are selling. The people that are usually diamond hands, the people that don't release their Bitcoin, they are now releasing their Bitcoin. They are realizing profit, and that realized profit depresses the price. Let's have a look at the on-chain statistics most people are not considering. What we've got over here is the net unrealized profit and loss for Bitcoin. So this is a long-term chart starting in 2014, and we've got the Bitcoin price in black, and we've got the net unrealized profit and loss as this color-coded graph. The zero line is over here, that's the dotted line. So whenever this turns red, then the long-term holders tend to be in losses as well. That's usually a very good time to buy. But whenever long-term holders are enough in profit, they tend to sell. And they are now again in similar levels of profit compared to the year of 2021 when we tended to peak out in Bitcoin. And so here we can see how the long-term holders tend to spend. So whenever this blue line is going down, the balance in the long-term holders' wallets tends to go down. So the red rectangles simply show us how the long-term holders sell into a rally. And since Bitcoin hit 40K again, right, from the 16K up to the 40K, since the 40K, the long-term holders sell again. Now I've got the impression that we're pretty much reliving again what we have seen 5 years ago. In 2016, 2017, we had a massive bull run. 2018 was then the depression from 20K all the way to 3.5K for Bitcoin. But then we recovered again, right? Up to 11, 12K, I believe. What subsequently followed was a drop of more than 50%. Now what we see here in blue, right? The line in blue, that's the realized price. So that's the average cost basis of the market as a whole. When the market as a whole is in negatives, sell pressure tends to dwindle, and that's a good time to buy. So that's over here at the end of 2018, it's over here during the COVID crash, and it was also after the FTX collapse when Bitcoin hovered between 20 and 16K. What we see here in orange is how much the market in total is in profit relative to volatility. So this is a potential indicator to time tops. Now we haven't topped out yet, right, to similar degrees to the beginning of 2021, but we do see a very similar pattern to exactly 5 years ago when we topped at 11K and then had our 50% crash. This here was the COVID crash. So there is a real opportunity that we're going to revisit the realized price again. And that realized price is currently at 30.6K roughly. I'm not saying that Bitcoin has to go down there, but at least you have to be prepared, right? It is in the realm of possibility. It happened several times in the past. So if your portfolio isn't set up correctly, if you don't have some stock as well, if you don't have some cash potentially, some long-term bonds, some gold, if you don't have anything but Bitcoin, you better should add some diversification, simply then to be able to buy that bottom in case this scenario plays out. Bitcoin is definitely not dirt cheap at current prices. And so it doesn't make sense to have all your wealth in BTC or in crypto. It's better to be diversified and to be able to buy bottoms in case momentum continues to be bearish. There is a slight difference compared to 5 years ago. The market as a whole had been in similar profits compared to 5 years ago, but it was not necessarily the long-term holders that created this 50% decline. The long-term holders kept on holding. That's now different to this year. Now the long-term holders are also selling. It's not just short-term speculative money that's depressing the price. It's even the diamond hands that are now diversifying. And that selling is happening pretty much since beginning of the year already. Here's the long-term cohort spending. Again, a Z-score, so relative to volatility. Yes, long-term holders can sell for quite a while. The Bitcoin price even 5x'd during that spending. But this time it appears that the selling is a bit more aggressive, and it seems to be happen earlier. People are anticipating the top earlier. Let's look at that spending based on age bands. So that's now from 1 month all the way to 10 years. We peaked out, especially in the short-term spending at the beginning of 2021, when Bitcoin didn't have that much more room to grow. Now we see similar kinds of spending again, even though we didn't grow that much higher relative to the prior all-time highs, right? This is very different to the peak at 20K in 2018, Once we hit that again, we had another 3x rally. This time we're hitting the prior peak and we don't see that rally. We see the selling already happening at this point. Another way to look at the same thing, the realized profit, this time measured in US dollars. It's both long-term holders and short-term holders that are realizing profit, especially the long-term holders. They realize very similar profit. Short-term holders aren't depressing the price as much, but they're also taking some profit. So what are we taking from all of this? I don't have a crystal ball either, right? I do not know where the Bitcoin price is going, but I do see some alarm signs. There's also other charts we haven't looked at. For example, the stablecoin market cap isn't growing anymore. There's no more money flowing in form of fiat into crypto. So the appetite for speculation is going down and people are taking profit. It's not dirt cheap right now. Bitcoin is not at 30K, close to its cost basis. What that in turn means, in my opinion, is to be prepared accordingly, to be prepared for any outcome. Still potentially own some Bitcoin, right? Some very long-term Bitcoin in case we continue to rise. But if you don't have long enough of a time horizon, if you're speculating on the cycles, then it does make sense to diversify properly, to also have some money in things that do not have a lot of correlation with crypto. Again, that can be gold, that can be long-term government bonds, that could be property, it could even be some kinds of stocks. Not necessarily tech stocks, but other stocks. If you've got Telegram, feel free to join us. It's 100% free. Looking forward to chatting with you. Cheers.